You want to know what living through hell with an HOA looks like? Well, grab a chair. Let me tell you about the year the war came to my farm. The year I learned that some fences do more than just keep your cows in. Sometimes, they're the only thing holding your sanity together. It started the way most of these stories do, with something so absurd you almost want to laugh. I was standing on my porch that morning, coffee in hand, thinking about fixing the tractor belt, when I heard it, a low, rolling rumble. Not thunder. The sky was clear as a preacher's lie. Then the lights appeared, headlights twisting down my private dirt road in a line, like a parade of mistakes heading straight for my front door. For one dumb second, I thought maybe there'd been an accident out on the county road. Or maybe, God forbid, the sheriff's department was finally coming for me after years of ignoring Karen's complaints. But as the first cars slid up, engines throbbing, speakers blasting country remixes, and people hanging out the windows yelling, "Where's the party at?" I knew right then I'd been set up. See, I own 20 acres right on the edge of town, nothing fancy, but it's mine. Fenced, signed, private. And yet, there they were. Kids with coolers, couples carrying lawn chairs, a few guys already tossing empty beer cans into my alfalfa like it was a tailgate in a parking lot. One guy hollered, "You got the barbecue going, right?" My jaw clenched so hard I thought I'd crack a molar. And if you're guessing who'd be petty enough to pull this off, you'd be right. Karen, queen of the HOA, ruler of nothing, master of making my life difficult. She'd been gunning for me since I bought this place, claiming my tractor was an eyesore. My rooster woke her up. My barn was a public nuisance. She'd tried noise complaints, code violations, Facebook rants, even wrote to the mayor once. But this was a new kind of low. I stomped down my driveway, boots kicking up dust, and told the first kid, "There's no party here. Turn around." He blinked, squinting at me like I was the idiot. "Wait, isn't this the charity barbecue? Got the flyer right here." He shoved his phone in my face. Sure enough, there it was, my address, my name, promising free food, music, all for a good cause. The pit of my stomach turned to ice. That's when I realized Karen hadn't just pranked me. She'd set me up for a fall. Chaos, noise, and trespassing complaints, all wrapped in a neat little bow and delivered right to my door. Within minutes, my front yard looked like the infield at the county fair. Cars parked on the grass, a couple grilling hot dogs off their truck bed, folks trying to set up a game of cornhole by the barn. I tried to yell over the music, tried to explain, but no one wanted to listen. Most thought I was just some grumpy host trying to kill the vibe. And then I spotted her, Karen, standing off to the side, arms folded, wearing that pastel sweater and smug smile like she'd won the lottery. I marched right over. "What the hell is this?" I hissed. She shrugged, gave me her best "who, me?" look, and said, "Maybe you're just too popular, Jake. Looks like the whole town wants to celebrate you." I could have exploded right there, but there were bigger problems brewing. Some folks started getting upset, saying they'd paid for tickets online, that they'd bought them from some HOA lady. My blood ran cold. Karen hadn't just lied. She'd sold tickets to a fake event. For profit. Now the crowd was getting ugly, people shouting for refunds, filming on their phones, threatening to call the cops. So I did what any outgunned farmer would do, locked my gate, and started filming too. "Say hi to my lawyer, Karen," I told her, phone camera catching the flicker of panic in her eyes. But before anything could escalate further, someone yelled, "Cops are coming!" And the whole place went haywire. Engines revving, people trying to three-point turn out of the yard, tires spinning in mud. By the time the sheriff rolled up, the place was a mess. Muddy tire tracks across my pasture, litter everywhere, music still thumping from a car that wouldn't start. The officer asked who owned the property. I raised my hand, trying to look calm. Karen leapt in with her version. "He locked everyone in. He's holding us hostage." The cop just looked at her, then at me, then at the disaster zone. I explained, showed him the flyers, pointed out my security cameras. The officer listened, tired but fair, and finally separated the crowd. Karen tried to play innocent, but the guests were already turning on her, one guy holding up his phone with the proof. "She's the one who sold us tickets." The cop's expression darkened. Later, as the last car peeled out and the field fell silent, I stood there staring at the ruts in the grass, the balloon tied to my mailbox bobbing in the wind. Karen's car crept past, window down, her voice cold as a snake. "You could have handled this better, Jake. Now everyone thinks you're the problem. I just laughed. We'll see. That night, my phone blew up. Community pages full of posts calling me everything from a monster to a misunderstood hero. Karen, naturally, was already spinning her version of events, claiming she'd been tricked by a neighbor with anger issues. But this time, I didn't fight online. I went quiet. I got smart. I spent the next day gathering evidence. Footage from the barn, screenshots of the fake Facebook event, witness statements from ticket buyers. My lawyer Tom, an old friend who'd seen enough HOA shenanigans to write a book, took one look and said, "She's cooked, Jake. Fraud, trespassing, property damage. She's crossed the line from petty to criminal." But Karen wasn't done. Not by a long shot. That Friday, I sat in the back of the HOA meeting, watching her stand at the podium and lecture everyone about community harmony. The irony almost made me laugh. When she tried to frame my farm as a public nuisance, I walked right up, played the video of her at the party, and watched her face drain of color as her own words played back to a silent room. It was the first time the board saw her for what she really was. Still, Karen didn't go quietly. She filed complaints, sent in county inspectors, tried everything short of arson to get me off my land. At one point, she even sent 2 goons with clipboards to investigate unlicensed events. I just smiled, let them poke around, and sent them on their way with a fresh stack of my own evidence. But the real turning point came when she tried the same scam again. Another round of fake invites, another postponed party, flyers circulating online. Only this time, I was ready. Cameras everywhere, motion sensors, the sheriff's number on speed dial. When the cars rolled in again, I lit the whole front field up like a baseball stadium. People froze in the headlights, stunned. When Karen arrived, trying to act innocent, I had her on a live stream. She cracked, finally, when a guest showed the cop the message thread where Karen had sold him the ticket. And then came the final spiral: revenge posts online, anonymous vandalism, even a late-night drive-by dumping black trash bags full of shredded HOA documents onto my land. She wanted to frame me for evidence tampering before the court hearing. But my cameras caught every second, and the sheriff arrived in time to see the mess for himself. That was the last nail in her coffin. Court was something else. Karen, in her blue blazer, spun a wild story about me stealing funds, manipulating the board, terrorizing her. But Tom tore it all apart. Bank records, video footage, her signature on every fraudulent transaction. When it was over, the judge dismissed her suit and charged her with perjury. She looked at me one last time, pale and broken, and I saw real fear in her eyes for the first time. After that, the town finally exhaled. The farm was peaceful, the wind clear of sirens and shouting. Karen lost everything: her house, her friends, her title. When her home went to auction, I bought it for a song and donated it to the community fund. Poetic, right? Even then, she tried to rattle the cage with one last letter, asking if justice made me sleep better at night. I burned it without reading the rest. Months passed. The new HOA committee ran things like adults. I went back to real barbecues, neighbors laughing across my yard, kids feeding the goats, no shouting, no drama, just the way it was supposed to be. When Karen finally left town for good, even Officer Reyes dropped by to say, "You can stop looking over your shoulder now, Jake." I thanked him and watched his taillights disappear into the night. You know, people ask if I ever regret fighting back, if all that noise was worth it. Truth is, every scar on that gate, every patch of grass torn up, every sleepless night, they're reminders. Not just of what I survived, but of what I stood for. Boundaries, peace, and the simple right to live without being bullied out of your own home. So if you're out there dealing with a Karen of your own, remember this: people like her burn themselves out eventually. Your job is just to outlast the fire. And sometimes, the most satisfying ending isn't about revenge or even justice. It's about finally, quietly, reclaiming your own piece of earth and not letting anyone take it from you ever again. Now, before you go, I want to hear from you. Was I right to stand my ground, or did I go too far? Have you ever dealt with someone like Karen? Drop your story in the comments. Let's talk about where the line is between standing up for yourself and fanning the flames. I'll be here, coffee in hand, gate locked, waiting to see what you think.